Alright, I think we are live. I am still playing with new software. I switched from OBS to what's this one called? The Streamlabs OBS. So this should be, it's actually a lot easier, more streamlined. I'm really, no pun intended. But anyways, hopefully it works out. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully less bugs than OBS. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. But anyways, today we're going to talk about what's on the screen right now, which is the Kennerton Audio Vali, which was sent to me by Drifting Bunnies, who was sent by Slash from the keyboard community to check out. And they are a pretty interesting headphone, to say the least. So let's switch. Let me grab the bag for it. We can kind of get a faux unboxing of it. Anyways, hello everybody. We have this thing. So it's kind of dark in here, sorry. Streamlabs, OBS, or Streamlabs, oof, brain, working well. The Kennerton Vali. So, so comes in a cool, like, foam and nylon kind of bag, decent foam protection. Pull it out and you kind of see it's decent. That happened. Decent foam internal protection for it. And this is the headphone itself. It's actually a pretty cool looking headphone. Let me get this brighter because it looks like it's pretty dark in here. So that is the Kennerton Vali. It's wanting to focus on my eyes a lot. And it's actually something to be aware of. I'll go over it in a second. I'll pop up the webpage. Oh, it's also for sale apparently. So if you want to buy it after the end of this, you can ping me or ping Drifting, and we'll. Am I quiet? Okay, let me turn up the volume. Thanks, Ant. Oh yeah, there you go. How about now? Better, better. My mic's actually pretty far away from me. Keep it up. Let me bring it in a little bit closer. Whoa, whoa, bring it into the mix. Ah. Don't. There we go. Alright, how about now? Better, 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 better. Test, 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 test. Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Okay, so Kennerton Vali. Build quality's like built like a tank. Reminds me of like a World War II tank or World War I tank almost. Like it's a solid built thing. It even has like these crazy dials to adjust the headband, which not my favorite thing. Whoa, blurry eyeballs. There we go. Not my favorite thing. This adjustment piece is it's kind of not the easiest to deal with. But once it's set, you're done, so I wouldn't even worry about it at the end of the day. But that's something to think about. Hey, what's up, Martin? What's up, Zimboy? Last Rhino, what's going on? Let's see here. Back to these. I really like the cup design. Let's see if I can get these in here. Come on, camera, you can focus. You can do this. Well, here, I'll switch to the still so you can see a better picture. So the cup design is really nice. You can kind of see on the top there that it's like this twisty knob to tighten it. It actually has a little bit of wiggle room there. The wood is actually hard to take pictures of. It actually looks almost plastic, but it is wood. The way that they finished it, it's just a unique thing. I think it's wood. Yeah, I'm pretty positive it's wood. It's just they did a pretty good job. Yeah, you didn't get to listen to these, Android. You didn't pop them on. So maybe we can meet up later on and you can give them a go. They're actually sound-wise pretty cool. But we'll get into that. And back to this. So the pads are interesting because they're kind of bulbous, and they also have this unique perforated, non-perforated, perforated, and that follows suit on the inside as well. The pads are actually pretty comfortable. They are smaller. They're a smaller cup, so it's almost, depending on how big your ears are, they can be on ear, but overall, it's actually pretty comfortable, the pads. The clamp force is a little tight, and then the other thing that I'm not a big fan of is, this is jank as all get out for the cable. I mean, it's, whee! Almost feel like I'm playing Slinky right now. But that being said, it's the same designed cables as the ZMF cables. So, and that's actually what I'm going to be comparing these two is my Aeolus and my Verite Opens. So actually I'll just show you this real quick so you can kind of see. It does have an adjustment. You just kind of, but it's metal on metal, so you can probably hear it. So that's kind of meh. But let me plug these in, get going on this, and adjust these. So I want to say this is right about, and these also don't really slide very well on the head, the adjustments. So if I was to put it on and kind of lefty loosey, and then try to adjust it, it doesn't quite work very well for like adjusting on the head. But so you have to kind of take it off, go, okay, well, how do I really want this? Find your spot that you like, and then tighten it down, and then that's that. And you can kind of loosen it a little bit to get a little more wiggle, but then it does that, and it's just kind of not the easiest thing to adjust, but once it's adjusted, it's pretty good. Comfort once on the head, I did notice a slight hot spot on the top of my head over time, and I think that's due because the strap here that you can where's my camera? The strap here, it's actually pretty thin. So, but you could actually put a ZMF pilot pad on this and it'd be fine. Boop. Hey, Connector, what's going on? Comfort wise though, pads themselves are very comfortable. They're very, like I said, they're almost like a bulbous like feel to them. They actually feel like, you've ever gone inner tubing? It's like that. That's what it reminds me of. Like if you took a giant inner tube for going down a river or going sledding or what have you, that's what it reminds me of. Yeah, it's a tough sell, Elric. But actually, I'm going to switch to something. I want to show you guys, because this is a thing. Boop. So it's going to pop up here in a second for you. They've actually redone the headband, and it'll pop up and you'll see it, but it's a completely new headband design for these, so this is no longer a factor. They are pretty heavy, but they're lighter than the ZMFs for sure. Let's see. So if you look at the picture, you can kind of see that the headband's a newer design, and I think they changed the colorway a little bit with the cups. They're not black, but I think you can probably get that custom going from there. Anyway, so that's a heads up there, is that these are no longer utilizing these kind of wonky headbands. So just to double click, just to keep that in mind. Okay, let's dive into some music. Yeah, I would say under 500 grams. I should have probably got my scale out and measured them. I'll do that later. Maybe I'll post in the comments afterwards about the size, the weight. Landwalker, what's going on? Yep. So music. Where's my music at? Here we go. I'm gonna start with Miss Ida B, because I really love this track. Thanks again, Elric, for reminding me of this wonderful track. So, yep, that might be a little loud. Let's bring it down a tad bit. Right about there. So right away, they sound pretty good. Like it's definitely a warmer headphone. Yeah, it's expensive. It's got, honestly, it sounds really good to me. It's not as sparkly as like what I would think other headphones are, but it's pretty good. It definitely leans more to the warm side, but the piano sounds good. The guitar sounds really good. It's a little bit almost pushing into that peaky side of things, but not horrible. Let me get into his vocals real quick. The bass sounds good. It's pretty clean as I'm scrubbing. Yeah, the low end is, his voice is a little pulled back to what I prefer, but wow, my camera is really having a number of focusing right now. But yeah, his voice is a little pulled back, but all the instruments seem right. It sounds pretty good, but the voice does seem pulled back. I wouldn't say veiled. It just seems like he's a little bit further. He's deep, like I'm maybe further back from the stage. Yeah, it does. They do sound pretty technical, and the detail is really good actually. I wouldn't say it's like sparkly like I'd like the hi-hat stuff. Let me switch to Go Penguin, because I think to get like because I want to hear the drums, signal and the noise real quick, because I want to hear the drums with this. Tonally, it sounds pretty good. Honestly, it almost it reminds me of ZMF headphones. That's part of why I want to do this comparison. Yeah, the hi-hats aren't that splash that I like. So they don't sound as good, or like the cymbals. The drums sound good. It seems accurate. It's got really good imaging. It's not the widest stage though. It's definitely a smaller stage, at least with this track. The piano does sound really good though, so that's something to think about. I mean, as far as sound goes, like I really like these actually. Yeah, they outside of comfort, which hopefully with the new headband, that would be a cover thing. And also, if you don't like things sitting on your ears, that might be a factor. So I actually have this set up for quick swapping. I'm going to throw on my lovely cushy boy Aeolus. And this is not like a perfect one-to-one comparison, because I'm using suede pads and so that, just to be aware. And I'm trying to volume match, but I'm not trying to do like proper volume matching. I'm just focusing more on like how these sound, they have similar sound profiles, which ones are that kind of deal. The Aeolus, yeah, the Aeolus is my cushy boys. These are definitely, I love these things. So it's like putting on, I mean, comfort comparatively, like this with this setup with the soft suedes, man, it's like putting a cloud on your head. Fantastic. All right, jumping in. Oops, I need to switch to output. Will be, which one is this hooked up to? Okay, next one. So same deal. It should be. It's actually so that's the other thing that's really cool with the Sony ZH1ES is it actually volume matches to whatever you were listening to on the other one. So that's really cool. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of things touching my ears as well. It's very rare for a headphone that touches my ears that I can actually deal with. Cost Porter Pros are one that I can deal with a little bit longer. Actually, the Grotto SR125s, I'm not a big fan of those after a while. Those start to hurt. But anyways, let me get on to this Aeolus. These need a little more juice, so I'll have to pump it up a little bit. I would say that... Oh, that's interesting. This sounds cleaner. I would be okay with you touching my ears. I'm not really a big fan of people touching me in general, but for you, Drift. Let's see. Yeah, if you could swap out the pads. It's definitely a smaller cup, though. These are definitely smaller headphones, and they make different version headphones, you know, so you can get the scale up. I think they have like one called like the Zeus or Thor or something. You can get it's a bigger headphone, one of their top line ones. Anyway, so I feel like the bass feels a little more punchy here. Pianos, I would say these actually feel more pulled back across the board. Oh, sun's coming out. I'm looking like a ghost. These sound a little more pulled back than those, actually. The stage is wider, and that might be the factor. Imaging's about on par. I like the hi-hats or splash better on the drums and the cymbals. This seems cleaner, if that makes sense. And I think it's that staging. The imaging and staging is a little bit wider, so it's That's probably where I'm getting some of that from. Let me switch back to Miss Ida B. Yeah, I can hear the details a little bit better on these. I was picking up a little bit, like the lady when she first starts singing, you can hear her say 1, 2, and like I picked that up a lot cleaner than with the other ones. So I'm going to go into vocals next. I'll do a vocal track next. His voice isn't as far away either, or pulled back as with the Aeolus. But guitar sounds slightly better with the Aeolus. To me that is. And the piano's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say the piano's a little more tonally accurate to what I think should be tonally accurate. Wow, sun coming out. Or blazing through the clouds. Actually, yeah, we should look up the... Let me turn that back on and I will tell you. Oh, they have a new case, it looks like, too. They have new accessories. Looks like the same cable, maybe? But here's some of the other headphones they make. Let me go into... 50... Yeah, so these are definitely lower impedance. So, definitely something to take into account for the Vali. So, I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but that's what that is. Let me do a vocal track. Should I go with... I think Macy Gray. That might be a fun one. Let's do Macy Gray. I haven't listened to Macy Gray in a while. So throwback. Aunt had me on a throwback kick the other night. We were listening to 90s hip hop and R&B. Oh man. Like honestly, the Aeolus is just like for most people, the Aeolus is probably all you'll want or need, because it's just our vocals are very nice, and the hi-hat, it's just the details there. It's just a lovely sound, and it just gets it, you know. Let me swap back before I start going on a ZMF tangent, because I will. And I do have the Verite Opens as well sitting here, but I don't think that that's a proper comparison, but I have them just because. Why not? Because they're here. Why not compare them? So Macy Gray with the... Yeah, see, these aren't as comfortable. Like that instantaneously gave me like that... Like, they're just... It's... That... I feel like someone... I was just hugging somebody that I love, and then they walked away, and then someone I did not like came up and was like, "Hey, buddy," and you're like, So, anyways, back to Macy Gray with the Kennerton Vali, and yeah, they have a weird, especially after putting those on, they have this weird clamp, like, and it's touching my ears, and it's kind of clamping a little bit low. They have improved, especially with the new headband ripping. The new headband looks a lot nicer. But yeah, Aeolus is exponentially. It's like going back and forth. It's no contest. Let me switch back to go round robin to the Kennertons. See, now her vocals are more intimate, so that's that staging being more like closed in, so it became a little more intimate. The stage is really in my head, so that's it's not making me the happiest, but it sounds good. Like, the technicalities are there, the sound is actually really good, and it's a more intimate scenario. The separation isn't as good as the Aeolus, but it's good. Like, it's good for what it is. I'm not sure. These were sent to me from Slash, from a keyboard community. And then Drift, I don't know if he told you if they were or not, but I'm not sure if these are the drop exclusives or not. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you the Aeolus is a better headphone than these. For me personally, I prefer it, and I'm biased. I love ZMF, so there's that. But I mean, personally, these sound good though. Like these are really good sounding. They're just closed in, and I would say that they're like almost to the Aeolus level, but not quite. They don't have as much natural. They're not as natural sounding, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's probably the drop one then. Yeah, so they are the drop one. All right, just for you, Taryn. Let's torture track this with some baby metal. Oh God, here it starts. I know it's coming. It's actually not as bad. Maybe I'm acclimating to baby metal. Maybe it's not as horrible. It actually it's not making it as intense. Like it's so for rock or for metal, I could see these being good because the bass is nice with these. It has this really nice warmth. Yeah, that might be work, Martin, with a little bit nicer, like a velour pad might give it a little bit better, different profile. But baby metal, I'm actually surprised. Baby metal sounds fine. Like I can actually sit here and it's not like drilling into my head, and it's keeping up, but not. Yeah, even the singing, Elric, like they're not. It's not like drilling into my head. It's actually not bad, and that might be that pulled back vocals I was talking about. Like you're putting a fuller back. The details there, the speed's generally there. But yeah, like I'm shocked at how well this is handling baby metal. I was probably talking way too loud for that. But yeah, impressively, these handled metal pretty good. Maybe it's the thing that they would do real well. As the headband came undone. I need to change my focusing. I think it's set to too high to autofocus. But let's see here. So do you EQ them to resolve curve, Android curve, or actually, Taryn, I think these would actually naturally fall under the Taryn curve list. They do sound good. They're just a little too intimate for my preference, especially like if you already had an Aeolus, I wouldn't get these. Or if you're looking to get an Aeolus, I wouldn't get these. But yeah. So I think with that, it's very interesting. Like, because I think they fall cheap. Wow, this is really focusing on my hands a lot. They fall. I think they're cheaper than the Aeolus though. So that's another thing to think about. Like if you're looking to go to like a Verite Open or a closed, then like I don't even think I need to compare to the Verite Open at this stage because like honestly the Aeolus is definitely better unless you guys want me to. Yeah, we're just gonna say that. But I was gonna say if you're shooting for or you're saving up for a Verite Open, but you kind of wanted the Aeolus sound and you don't want to pay the full price, for instance, maybe or what have you. These do have a similar sound to the Aeolus as far as like the profile. It's a little the stage is closed in, and it's not quite as good technically. I don't think. Fighting words, Android coming at you, Taryn. But yeah, I think that with these, I'm impressed at how. I mean, they seem technically good. I mean, they are technically good. They sounded fine to me for all those 3 tracks. I mean, let me switch to something a little more. This one could cause problems. It's Dermot Kennedy, Giants with piano, and his voice can get grainy if it's not done right. If the headphones can't keep up. And the piano is really good. Oh, see, the piano sounds really good. Yeah, his vocals sound good, but once again, it's like you're pulled back. So I think that is where this is kind of, it's a relaxed listen. I would say it's a relaxed but technical listen. Like you can pick up the details, the imaging is decent, the stage is definitely closed in, and it's just a relaxing listen. Actually, like it's not in your face. Like listening to Baby Metal was fine. Yeah, he's not very grainy, and his voice can get a little bit sibilant towards the certain parts, but so far no problem. So I think if at the end of the day, what I would say is like if you want something that's like an easy listening thing that you're not inoffensive and it sounds good, has good technicalities, good tonal balance, don't mind the staging with it, then this would be a good option, honestly. So, but yeah. Let's see. That kind of took the wind out of my the day a little bit. If there's any tracks or anything you want me to kind of test with them, I think I'll be more than happy to do that real quick. I would say that, yeah, the Aeolus definitely, for me, is better, and the Verite is definitively going to be better. Different signatures in anyways, because the Verite is faster, more technical, a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, these things are... See, now it wants to focus on my eyes. Like, really? Like... you can kind of get an idea. These things they're cool looking, but like a tank. I think the new headband will do them justice more than this headband. And if you can swap out the pads, which I believe you can, I think it's just the same style as the ZMF kind of style, where you kind of have to pull it out and then undo it. And that could help with some of that. But technically, a good headphone. Like, it sounds pretty good. So. Let's see here. Landwalker. Let's see. Android invite me on 280 so I can tell you how wrong you are in the graphs. Let's see. Valley though. Yeah, I would get a second Aeolus. That's fair. So Tour versus Aeolus. I don't have an Tour. I don't have one currently. A friend is gonna send me an Tour, and I will probably do. When that comes in, it'll be a couple weeks, but when that comes in, I'll probably do an Tour Aeolus Verite Open, because they're all opens, comparison, I guess, and go from there. I believe there's also another one I'm going to be doing where I might do it on the, I might do it as a test run on the, we're doing a headphones.com Twitch channel. And so I have the headphones. I have the Rad Zeros, which are in their box. And I have the, I'm going to be getting the Empyrean, Mez Empyrean in today, actually. It's out for delivery right now. And probably what I'll do is I'll do a comparison with that probably tomorrow morning. I'll just get it scheduled. So what I'll do is I'll do a comparison of those planars on the Headphone Twitch channel, which we're starting up to try and kind of see what that's all about. And I'll do a similar thing like this with those three. But from memory, sorry, tangent, brain ADHD. From memory, I would say the Auteur is a more like, think of the Auteur as more of like that acoustic vocal headphone. Like, it's a guitar. It's just it does really well with acoustics, guitar, jazz. Like, whereas the Aeolus is a more, it does good on both, but that's where it really shines, I would say. Is for the Auteur, whereas the Aeolus to me is kind of more of that jack of all trades kind of one, especially if you like a little more warmth to your music or to the profile that you're listening at. So that's where I'd kind of place them. Would be the Auteur would be more of that kind of like a less warm Aeolus. But that's kind of a disservice to that as well. Like, I wouldn't necessarily like go with that as like your end all be all. Hopefully, like I said, I'll get that in. We can do a proper comparison. I eventually would like, my goal in life is to eventually own every single ZMF headphone. And I'm chatting with Zach here and there about that, and he told me to hold off because I'm waiting for special woods or what have you all, or whatever the limited releases that they have for each one. I'm kind of waiting for one that I would like. Anyways, so Impy Spice, that will be, as people might know, I'm not the biggest Empyrean fan. I think they're interesting headphones. They look beautiful. They're well engineered. The comfort is probably 11 out of 10. The looks of them are really nice. But for me personally, the audio is not my favorite portion of that headphone. And I think, in all truth, like I think more. Well, we'll talk about it another time. Let's see. Yeah, this is the old Vali 7th. So this one, so the new ones are that could have changed. I don't know, but this is the drop one. This one was the drop from drop.com apparently. Yeah, Auteur is wider. I believe the Auteur is a wider staged headphone as well. Stellia versus Utopia. If I get the Utopia back, I'll do a Stellia versus Utopia as well. Maybe I'll try and get some of the other Focal stuff and we could do a comparison at some point. Maybe I'll try to do it on the Headphones Twitch channel and I'll start doing some of those on that Twitch channel just to it's kind of a fun thing to do for headphones.com and go from there. And then for my personal channel, I'll probably do all the non-headphones.com related gear or maybe other stuff. Maybe I'll look into some other things to do and do chats with. Definitely want to keep doing like the live stream HiFi After Dark and or like interviewee type stuff as well, because that's something I actually enjoy the most. And chatting with obviously you guys on the live chat is like the main fun part for me. Just waiting for yeah. Seriously, man, like that's the thing. Waiting for those special limited editions is that kind of like, oh, do I go for this one or do I wait and hope that there's a wood that I really want to come out later on? Or and you just you never know. So it's that weird waiting game. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think the Impy is great for if you like EDM. If you like more bassy stuff and you want it, it's a planar, so it has that speed and has that slam. But for me, the way that the treble in the driver is, it feels like it's beaming into my ears, and I get a little bit of grain with it for whatever reason. That just could be me, but it's at the end of the day, like those are all minor nitpicks. But yeah, it's definitely not as detailed as others. Yeah. Exact 7th, yeah. The newer versions were changed, and now we were just pulling up the website earlier. So Android would pick Utopia over Stellia. I would not. I picked. In fact, it's right here. Oh, this is what I picked over Utopia. But that just goes to show we all have our preferences. We all have our things that we will lean towards in our biases and what have you. And that's something to take into account when you're listening to someone like me, like knowing what my preferences are. Like I love my Verite closed. I love my ZMFs. I love the Stellia. I love Focals also. Most of the Focal lineup, I really do enjoy them. I think the Utopia is fantastic. It's just I like a little more warmth with my headphones. But then at the same time, I do like detail, like, headphones as well. Because I really love my, I have in fact, I just got them back. I need to unbox them still. But I have my SR1As that I really love. Those things are fantastic. But yeah. What you don't like about sound of Empyreans. Yeah, thanks, Rhino. I love doing the chats and just like I'm not trying to be, telling you what the frequency range is or that kind of stuff, but just more my experience and time with them, and I think it's fun because I have access to them, so why not talk about them, right? Anyways, Coniator. So for me, the other thing is the way that if you look at the trace, it's really cool what they did. It's a fantastic, like, forward-thinking design where they did the trace on the Empyrean's driver. It's all the bass is up top, and then it gets real spiraled at the bottom. And if you look at where that would sit on your head, the bass is coming down at you, and it's up here, whereas the treble and mids is more like directed into your ear hole. So to me, that would, and for some people it's not a problem. Like some people love these things. I think the Empyrean is one of the most divisive headphones out there right now. But some people don't like it. I'm one of those that don't. I don't really like the way that the treble and the mids kind of pierce, like not pierce because it's not piercing. It's just the way they're presented to my ears. It just didn't sit well with me personally. Yes, I am thinking about getting an M scaler, Alex, but we'll see. I need to get one in for demo. I have a buddy that's gonna let me borrow his for a little bit to kind of test out. In fact, I don't even have my cord DAC hooked up right now. I had it hooked up to my speakers downstairs for a while, and I was rearranging my desk. I need to redo a bunch of stuff, but and ship out some things. So Kevin, Jacques, I butchered that. Sorry, Jacques. I'm horrible at pronunciation. It's something you'll have to get used to. I'm horrible at it. My wife makes fun of me all the time. So she's a lawyer, so it makes it even better. Let's see, the Radiance. I have not heard the Celestia yet. I'm hoping to get one to check out, and when I do, I'll compare it to the Stellia. But compared to the Radiance, to me the Radiance was a fun headphone. Like, it reminded me, it had a little more bass than the Stellia. Wasn't as detailed. I'm trying to think what would it in the focal range, because it was definitely different than the Elysia. It definitely had a much cleaner take. Jakes, thanks. I will do better to try and remember that. But the Radiance the bass was really clean and punchy. The mids were pretty great. It had that focal signature of that really clean, detailed presentation, but it had a little more warmth to it. Whereas, let's say, like I wouldn't call it a baby Stellia, because the Radiance has more bass. Like, it's more punchy. But it's unique. I would say it's its own unique thing. So it'd be interesting to see what people think of it compared to the Celestia. Yeah, I think the Radiance though was, I mean, to me, of the headphones in the past that I've listened to most recently, I really liked the Radiance. The Radiance was fantastic, well put together, well made. It reminded me of the Stellia's build quality. In fact, it was almost identical, except I actually preferred the Radiance's cup design. It was just, and I believe they even had very similar pads to the Stellia. These are actually Dakoni pads on the Stellia right now, so don't account for that. They're different pads. But yeah. Jax. You are correct, Last Rhino. Once again, dumb American pronunciating things. Let's see here. The new headband or the microphonic with the stock pads, ZMF pads. Yeah, ZMF pads seem like they would do really well with the Kennerton stuff as well. In fact, they almost have a similar sound profile, but I'd say that specifically these ones are a little pulled back comparatively, and obviously the stage is different. Yeah. Yeah, I can go over that real quick, because I kind of went through this Kennerton real fast, didn't I? But yeah, we'll switch over. We'll switch gears. To me, the stock pads are better overall, but these have enough of a different like, one, they're way more like they're crazy. I don't know if I have, where did I put that Dakoni pad? I had it somewhere. I think my wife came through. Oh, there it is. And she cleaned up my space. So, and what that means is she puts things away, and so out of sight, out of mind for me, and I have no idea where they go, where they went. But so the Dakoni pads are thicker. You can kind of get an idea. They're slightly thicker, definitely more firm for the Dakoni pads. The Stellia pads are much more plush. And they actually have a similar design on the inside, the Dakoni pads, to the Stellia pads. It's similar enough that they're nice to kind of have, and I think they push the stage a little bit out further than the Stellia pads, but I think the Stellia pads have a better sound performance to me. Like, they sound better. They have a little bit better response with the Stellia pads, the stock pads. But it's good to know that you can get Dakoni. Well, these are limited edition. I'm not sure if they're going to continue doing these or not. Hopefully they do, because these are good pads. They're a good alternative to the Stellia pads. So yeah, the color's not the same. These are all just pure black, whereas the Stellia pads are that untreated leather. So that's another thing with the Stellia that's interesting is it's untreated leather. So you get the eventual coloration of, me just doing this, I'm adding my finger oils to the leather, which will eventually change it over time. And same thing with the pads, same with your head, a lot of fun stuff. So something to be aware of with the Focal Stellia. No, the Dakoni pads are not $250. The Dakoni pads were, I think they were $100 though. So they were not cheap, but they definitely were not the uber expensive Focal pads. Let's see. Oh, so the last round of the Sonys are actually Drifting Bunnies, who's in the chat, or was in the chat. So actually did push those out. The Android did a review of them recently as well. You can check it out on audiodiscourse.com. He did his review there. I really did like the Sonys actually, and they paired really well with the Sony amp I have right now. Yeah, you can get stock pads, Stellia pads for also. You can get those aftermarket. Yeah, Focal's really good about actually parsing out their stuff, so you can get it. It's just maybe it might be a little difficult in the sense of how much stock they have, but yeah. Yeah, Martin answered it. So, yeah, landmarkers. So actually, on the Dakoni pads for Focal, they definitely change their frequency response, and they are thicker. They're across the board. I remember I had a bunch for my Elysia, and I also had a bunch for the Clears as well. And to me, honestly, the stock pads always sound better, slightly. Sometimes not as much. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? Yeah, thanks for joining, man. The Dakoni pads tend to be a little, like I said, a little bit thicker. They're not as cushy. They usually because they use that memory foam. So to get an idea, like it's very. I mean, you can see how slow that is to come on, you can do it. It's like it wants to focus on me when I don't want it to, and then camera killing me here. But anyways, yeah, they're just a little bit they're stiffer, but they're actually comfortable. Actually the Dakoni pads are very, very comfortable as well. So you can kind of see on the head, but they are very comfortable, and the Focals are always comfortable unless you have a much bigger head than I do, which then it's going to be like that, and you're getting that clamp force a lot worse. But overall, I do think the Dakoni pads are very comfortable. So I wouldn't know about if there's a Stellia replacement coming. But then let's see, Jonathan, if you're not into tubes, what's an in-game solid state? Depending on what you're looking for in your budget, I really do like the Cord, the Phonitor. I have it up here, the Phonitor XE. Or X or Phonitor E, but you have to be wary of those because they can be. Whenever you guys are doing like any kind of audio stuff with solid states or across the board, this little guy right here, as you're plugging it in, grounds. And so if you're listening to music and it's playing, you have the chance of getting a feedback loop that will pop your amp and or burn your headphones. So be aware of that. Hey DB, what's going on? Yeah, but the Phonitor by far is still, like, even with the Hugo TT2 or the Cord TT2 Hugo, I actually preferred the Phonitor paired with that DAC over but it was close, but I still liked the Phonitor slightly more. The Phonitor is fantastic. Another solid state I really like was the Jotunheim Original. I needed to hear the Phonitors can explode if you're not careful. So practice safe headphone swapping, and you want to turn your volume down or definitely pause. Just pause your music. Don't just keep it running. Pause your music, turn the volume down, swap cables. Then that's practice safe music listening. you know. But yeah, they can. That's a little bit scary. We actually had someone on the forum had their SPL Phonitor E, I believe, had that happen to him, which is scary. He had a little video of the. I think it blew up his focal clears as well, which is not fun. Yeah, the availability. So outside of that, the other one, the minis are really cool. Trying to think of another one. The Bioelectric actually is really good. They have a warmer sound stage, as I recall. It's been a while since I've heard one. But off memory, I would say Bioelectric's a really good one. Actually, I really liked those a lot. I actually was looking at getting one until I got the Cord TT2. Another really cool. If you don't like tubes, that's tough. I mean, tubes are definitely. I'm not a big tube roller. I like to find like the tubes I like, and then that's it. Then I'm done, and the tubes stay on the amp until they die, and I get new ones, and hopefully the same ones. So when it comes to that, I'm not the best at tube rolling either. Actually, not too many Contour amps. The Phonitor is unique. It's only on the single-ended part of it too that the Phonitor has that issue. It's because it's a non-grounded. I can't remember exactly what the term is, but they even tell you in the manual, like, don't be swapping this out while listening to music. But most of the other ones actually have it built in, as far as I know. Yeah, the 590 for the those ones are Bioelectric. That's the new one that just came out, I believe, right? Which looks really cool. It has, like I said, a little bit warmer presentation. The V280, it's warm, yeah. I think that's the one I listened to, was the V280. I listened to the 580 that was before? Yeah, the 580 was also decently warm. Tubes live for years, honestly. You can even leave them plugged in and powered on, and most tubes will last forever. Yeah, Elnrick, I was going to say, if you can find one, the ECP3F or the Black Widow, those are freaking amazing. And I'm really bummed because I didn't tied up my money for buying toys, and Elnrick actually just sold his ECP3F, and I'm bummed because I really wanted to get one as a stack, because I have the ECP-T4 tube hybrid currently as one of my main amplifiers, and so but the ECP3F is very good. But yeah, so the 5,000 to 10,000 hours is on average for a lot of tubes. Some go longer, some go less, depending on if they're new, old stock, or if they're used, that kind of deal. And then they're finite. Just know tubes are finite, but they're replaceable. But the way the market's going these days, price keeps going up on them like crazy. So it's interesting where that will happen. Hopefully we get some more tube makers populating with some good tubes. We have the JJs, stuff like that, but they tend to be not the most preferred amongst audiophiles. They're good, but they're not, And then there's what's the electric one? And there's a couple other ones that they're made, but they're still not as good as some of the old stock stuff. Yeah. Anyways, I think if you guys happy with that, I can, unless you guys want me to try out the Vali with some other music. But TLDR, I think that based on what I'm seeing, also my settings are all jacked up because I was doing some video stuff. Yeah, I do want that new A1 drifting bunnies. I do want it really bad. That thing is a beast. Anyways, TLDR, Kennerton, I would say the new ones probably resolve a lot of the issues that I'm having with it. If you go to their website, the newer model with the better headband, sounds like they might actually a little bit wider stage as well, potentially. These sound really good. They're a little bit narrow in stage, but apparently I think Landmark was mentioning, somebody was, that the staging is a little bit better with the newer model. But overall, they're technically good, and the sound is decent. They're not the most comfortable for me personally, but that could be relieved with the new headband style. And I would say I think the Aeolus beats these. Wow, come on. Aeolus beats these. Maybe it's because my camera's too low. Maybe I need to have it a little bit up higher. So maybe I have focus on weird. I might have my autofocus on set to something weird. I might not have it on eye autofocus right now. That might be the problem. Anyhow, these are really good though. I would say for what they are. Comfort, not my favorite, but once again, I have the old headband. So, but Aeolus does beat these in my opinion. But the Aeolus is more expensive, I believe. So euros. Wow, camera not playing nice. Anyhow, yeah, that's it. Most natural ZMF, neutral musical, probably a tour. I'd say most natural ZMF, probably the tour. I don't know, do you still have Euro tours? I can't remember if you got rid of them or not, but I would say that would be my most natural neutral would be Tour from my experience with them. But it's, like I said, it's been a bit since I've listened to the Tour, but that was when I did listen to it. I was at ZM Festivus. Was that the last time I listened to Tour? Last year? But yeah, that was, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Have a great day, gentlemen, as well, Kevin. Yeah, so I don't know, I can probably answer that, but yeah, the Altours are definitely more, to me, the more neutral, natural sounding of the ZMF lineup. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll try to get something set up for the, I'll try to announce it some way for the Twitch stream. I'll try to do the, like I said, the Headphone, the Rad Zeros, and the Empyrean. I'll do a shootout between those three on that and go from there. And we'll hopefully see what's going on with that. I don't think the cables add anything to the mix as far as the upgraded cables, but I do have the silvers. Yeah, I have them on my. Let me grab it. These usually are not too far from me, so I do have the silver, the Verite silver cables. I think personally, for cables, they are more about, for me personally, they're neck candy. They're like kind of a nice gift to myself. The standard copper cables, upgrade cables, are just fine. Or you can get the DIY kit from ZMF, and those you can do it yourself, solder it yourself, and that would be, probably a cheaper way to go as well. But personally, I think there probably is a difference, but I don't personally hear it, to a level that would make it matter, if that makes sense. Oh, that's kind of cool. New Magni graphene driver. That'd be interesting to test out and check out. Yeah, anyways, you guys have a great day, and I will chat with you guys later, and I'll let you know about the Twitch thing, how that goes, and try to get that going. So have a good one. And second button, hit twice.